This is maybe the most common takedown in all of wrestling, all of grappling, all of fighting. It's the traditional double leg. It feeds off of our blast. There's a reason I teach it right after the blast, is because the two feed into each other, as you'll see in the technique video. It's not all that different. We get a little bit lower, drive a little bit deeper. We're level changing one more time from here, okay? The reason I prioritize these techniques is because they're the most accessible. There are other techniques that might be more applicable for your body type, but they take longer to learn. So you need to get your feet wet so you can start understanding the concepts of takedowns, closing the distance between you and your opponent, utilizing the drop step. This is the first technique that we're gonna use where we're actually using our drop step. So hopefully you've watched the stance in motion video. If you haven't, go check that out. And we're actually going to be using it now. And you'll see why stance in motion is so important before learning an actual takedown. Like always, guys, if you've never hit a takedown, you've never hit this takedown, a traditional double leg, have your partner start at scarecrow. We're gonna take a deep penetration step between their legs as far as we can get, chest over knee, elbows disciplined into our sides. Our knee's gonna drive over our toe to the ground. As it does that, my chest and head are going to come up to here. My trail leg comes up and posts to the side. Pushing off my back leg, deep, knee drives over my toe, elbows in, knee hits the ground. As it hits the ground, my chest comes up to here. This is not good head position. This is not good head position. Even this is not good head position. This is good head position. You see how his body starts to tilt in the direction I'm gonna drive? My trail leg comes up and posts to the side, not straight in front, to the side. I'm changing directions. Ideally, I get my hands locked behind him in a monkey grip. You can go gable grip or even an S grip. I prefer the monkey paw grip over top of my wrist. If I can't get this, if he starts to sprawl on my entry, his legs are going back. Now I don't have the length of my arms to get my hands locked. I can still finish if my head is up, my hips are in, and my back is straight. I have the structure of my skeleton supporting his weight, not my muscular system. Then I'm gonna push off this lead leg, or my trail leg rather, onto my lead leg. I wanna be on both legs when I drive, maximizing my power. My head is leading the movement. I look hard in the direction I wanna go, and then I pull my elbows in as I drive. Now we have to use the setup in order to get to his legs because he's gonna be down in a stance. I'm gonna use the exact same setup I used in my blast double. I'm gonna reach towards his face. As his hands come up, I swoop underneath. So you wanna be knocking him back on his heels by the time that you get to him. You wanna think shoot through him, not to him. So he's trying to catch his balance on his heels by the time you are changing direction sideways. Change level down, change level in, change level across. 3 different level changes. Just like my blast, I'm leaning over my lead leg. I reach, step, elbows come in. I want to be knocking him back with my shoulder by the time I get there. Post, hook just below his butt. Grip if you can. If you can't, you can still finish. Head leaves the movement. Push up onto both feet. My hips stay underneath me. I'm not here. My butt is not extended. I need my butt under my shoulders here. And drive, drive. Pull your knees into side control. If you're a BJJ guy, just keep your shoulders shrugged. Everyone's afraid of getting guillotined here. On your entry, as you're entering, shrug your shoulders and keep them shrugged. Circumvent that problem from ever happening. And even if he does wrap up the guillotine from here, even if he does, make sure you just circle your hips to the opposite side of your head. If I'm here, and I'm driving, and I'm on the same, my hips end up on the same side as my head, I'm in trouble. But if I practice driving with my hips to the other side of the head, then you can actually finish him with a Von Flue choke. If he doesn't abandon this position, you can finish him. Like I'm shooting under a stick. Like this is reverse limbo. Right? I want to get underneath. I want to get as low as I can, underneath his head hands defense. I get low, chest over knee. Now, pretend there's a stick here, and I want my back to graze it on my way up. I want to graze it. So I go under the stick, head stays up, My back grazes it. And see how there's no space between me and his legs? I'm not out here. I'm not hinging at the hips at all, okay? Not even the least bit. I'm completely straight. Head up, hips in, back straight. And my hands pull his legs in as I drive. It's not enough just to drive. I have to pull his legs in as I drive. So I'm driving, pulling his legs in, and then I'm circling my legs to the opposite side of my head. The reason I teach this in combination with the blast, we're teaching it right after the blast double, is because one commonly leads into the other. If I'm going to hit my blast double, right? If I'm going to hit my blast and my partner circles, right? If I go hit my blast and he circles on my entry, this just becomes a traditional double. Vice versa. If I go to hit my traditional double and he circles the other way, I go to hit my head outside, he circles this way, it just becomes a blast. Okay? No matter how much you practice one or the other, you can't completely ever control your opponent. He's gonna have movement. Commonly, he's gonna have movement on your entry. So train both to greatly increase your chances of finishing. Now, for guys who are really good defensively, if you're dealing with a guy who has incredible balance, maybe he's a really good athlete, and you keep driving, he just won't go down, you're gonna have to lift him. You're gonna have to get both of his posts, both of his legs off the mat. How do I do that? Ideally, again, you have hands locked. If you don't, it doesn't matter, you can still finish. You're driving, he's just not going down. He just keeps catching himself, keeps catching himself, keeps catching himself. I'm gonna step around with my lead leg all the way around to his far leg. Step. And then I'm going to pop my hips. I'm not deadlifting. See right here? I'm not deadlifting. I'm popping my hips and tilting my shoulders and using my head in combination with my arms to get him to go horizontal. You're gonna flare his legs. So you come up to both legs, he won't go down. I step across, I pop, flare. So as always, guys, be mindful of your surroundings. If you're hitting this inside, clear stuff out of the way, all right? Don't just start hitting this in your living room. Lay down some pillows, some blankets, and be mindful of where you're at. Maybe you're not ready until you get on an actual wrestling mat or a BJJ mat. Maybe you're not ready to flare the legs yet. If you're not ready, just pick them straight up. As you step around with your lead leg, just pick them straight up so you can at least get that lifting motion in your muscular system. And then when you get back on the mat, you can finish from there. If you're outside in a park and you want to hit this in the grass, I'm gonna leave that up to you and the toughness of your partner.